I have sorely underestimated the popularity of Compsognathus. But don't worry guys, I'm restocking the Bag O Compies. In the meantime, I think I'm going to go ahead and paint a Jurassic World Renaissance style Compsognathus. We'll be using the Marco Makes Basic Compy for this. Speaking of Marco Makes Basic Dinos, keep your eye on that guy's social media. He's always cooking up something. The best look we get at the Jurassic World Rebirth Compsognathus was in a Jeep commercial. The look we get in the actual movie is not great. There is some fan art though, but I have not received permission to use any of it in my videos, and I believe in respecting the wishes of the artist. And then there's the Marco Makes Rubber Source Aqualops vs. Compy set. And goddamn, don't those look nice. Point is, there's not a ton of good reference material for these yet, so we're just gonna have to pull a Ted for most of this and go with the rule of cool. If you're not familiar with them already, the Marco Makes Basic Dinos are awesome. They are exactly that, basic dinos. They're sculpted to resemble the Stan Winston Marquettes used for each film, and feature a pretty incredible level of fidelity to their on-screen counterparts. I painted one like the Lost World Compsognathus a while back, but sadly had to part with it. It's okay though, he's in a better place. But we're going to make this one considerably more colorful. We're going to start by applying flamingo coral with the airbrush. This is a really bright, orangey, pinkish kind of color. And it's going to be a great base color for that colorful Renaissance Compsognathus. Once the Compsognathus is thoroughly colorful, I'm going to mark out some stripes on him. I'm going to use warm buff for these stripes, similar to a nice piece of fan art that's floating around out there. You may or may not have seen it. As I do with most dinosaur stripes, I'm going to mark out the spacing along the center point of the back and then drag those stripes down. And the effect of the warm buff on this flamingo coral Compsognathus is giving the effect of a disgusting peppermint candy Compsognathus. I don't know, maybe peppermint's your thing? It's not my thing. This does not look tasty. Once I got all of the stripes on, I thought to myself, you know what might make this look less like peppermint candy? Splotching. So using some watered down cardinal crimson, I began splotching the side of this Compsognathus. Then at some point, I thought, you know what, it, let's just do a wash with this color. So that's what I ended up doing. I'm making this up as I go along, man. Hopefully it doesn't look bad when it's done. We'll find out. Well, with the dorsal reddish color more or less in place, I guess now we can start working on that dark ventral color. Is it black? Is it dark gray? Is it dark blue? Who knows? There's a complete and utter lack of good reference materials for this thing. So we're gonna go with pavement. At least at first. We'll add a little bit more color later. But for now, pavement will get us where we're going. And where we're going with this particular Compsognathus is Ile Saint-Hubert. The dark ventral areas on the Compsognathus cover the arms and most of the legs. Kinda like thigh-high stockings. How much of the ventral area of the tail it covers is unclear, so we'll just say this much. Yeah, that looks fine. Then we'll just tidy up the transition on the neck a little bit, and then hopefully get on to slightly more interesting things. These slightly more interesting things in this case is a black wash to cover that entire ventral area. Black's a little bit darker than pavement, so it's going to help to show all of the recessed detail on the model. With that wash applied, we'll just let that dry. Once it does eventually dry, we will move on to some speckling. Okay, now that it's dry, we're going to use a toothpick, and we're going to apply some jet black speckles to it. Those jet black speckles are going to be all along the line between the ventral and dorsal areas to help ease the transition between that bright, almost fluorescent pinkish red and the darker area. These speckles are going to be small, but there's going to be an awful lot of them. And we have to do speckles on both sides because we don't want a lopsided dinosaur. Once we have taken care of all of that tedious speckling, it is time to go in with a dry brush. We're going to use Harvest Orange for this part. It's a nice reddish orange, and it'll be perfect for showing off the raised detail on the dorsal areas of this Compsognathus. Once we're finished with all the dorsal dry brushing, we're going to go in and do some ventral dry brushing. For that, we're going to use dark blue-gray. The ventral areas on the Compsognathus in Jurassic World Renaissance might be black, they might be dark gray, or they might be dark blue. By using pavement, a black wash, and now a blue-gray dry brush, we're going to get all three of those potential colors in there, just like checking A, B, and C on a multiple choice question. They can't all be wrong. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and take that dark blue-gray and give this guy an eye stripe. Once the eyelid has been colored a dark blue-gray, we're going to go ahead and drag that stripe backwards down the neck, being sure to add lots of speckles. Because a speckled dinosaur is a happy dinosaur. If the number of speckles on a dinosaur are directly correlated to its happiness, this little Compsognathus is going to be one jovial little Once that eye stripe is done, we can actually go in and paint the eyeballs themselves. I'm using a combination of King's Gold and Inca Gold, which you can't really see because my stupid hand is in the way. Still a better look than what we got in the movie. Alright, my camera work for this part really sucks. I'm adding a color shift purple wash to his lip line, because venomous Compsognathus. Maybe? I don't know, they don't really specify in the movie. Well, now it's time to paint those claws. We're going to use gloss black for that. A nice manicure is another contributing factor to the happiness of a dinosaur. Okay, I tried to film painting this dinosaur's pupils. It didn't work, but I painted a pupil. Well, whatever. Time for dinosaur glamour shots. Why yes, actually, since you ask, I am restocking the Bag O Compies, tomorrow actually, at 1500 Mountain Standard Time.